Shabbat Shalom on this Parshat Shmini. Parshat Shmini, the word Shmini, of course, means 8. It's the 8th day, which means it's time to get moving and using that tabernacle that we have been so busy building. After 7 intense days of preparation, the perfect tabernacle is being inaugurated. The Israelites have donated the raw materials and their artisans have built a portable masterpiece according to divine instructions. The Levi family, yes, the same as the inventor of the jeans, is in charge. Moses' brother, high priest Aaron, and his 2 sons Nadav and Avihu. Oh, according to tradition, Elisheva Levi, Aaron's wife and the young priest's mother, is present, full of anticipation and joy, and her joy suddenly turns to mourning as word from inside the tabernacle is that both Nadav and Abihu have been they have been taken back to God. V'yel Aharon lemor alehem, and Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, saying to them, Dabaru el bnei Yisrael lemor, zot hachaya asher tochlu mikol habehema asher ha'aretz. Speak to the children of Israel, saying, these are the behemot, these are the beasts which you shall eat among the beasts that are on al ha'aretz, are on the earth. So if you're not getting it already, you should be getting a taste of, pun intended, that we're going to be talking about eating this morning. It goes on to say, whatever parts of the hoof and is cloven-footed, and chews the cud among the beasts, that shall you eat. Okay, Torah is getting into the laws of kashrut. Why something is kosher and why something is not kosher. Here's a little quiz, my friend. What are the things that separate that which is kosher and what is not? Kosher animals must chew their cud and have completely split hooves. Kosher fish must have fins and scales. And finally, land animals lacking one or both sides, like pigs and camels, and aquatic creatures without both, like shellfish, are forbidden. All right, what's kosher and what is not? Kosher or not kosher, welcome to the Moshe Game Show on this Shabbat morning. Alrighty, let's start out, first of all, with the deer in the headlights. Kosher or not kosher? Give me a thumbs up if you think that a deer is a kosher animal. Deer is a kosher animal. It can be shechted if you can catch them in order to do that domestically somehow. Okay, on to the next. Oh, look at the little goat. Kosher, not kosher? There you go. Okay, last but not least here, a turkey. A turkey, kosher, not kosher. Of course a turkey is kosher, but here is something interesting about the turkey and about other birds. Unlike animals and fish, for which the Torah gives specific signs for determining the kashrut, for example, animals have split hooves and chew their cud, and fish which have fins and scales, the Torah simply lists 24 species of the birds of the world that are kosher, and only a limited number of exceptions exist. Now, here are 10 perhaps surprisingly kosher animals you may not have known are kosher or not. First of all, doves and pigeons are kosher. Yes, they are. Now, what about the bighorn sheep? Also kosher. You want to grab him as he runs by those big horns. Also, the moose, bullwinkle, is kosher, but not rocky. And then we have this fish with that punim. It's called a monkey-faced eel. It is kosher. The Jewfish. Of course the Jewfish is kosher. How can it not be kosher? Then we have a bison. As the bisons go rolling along, they are kosher. Then we have a fish called the Shabuti or the Shabbat. I love that. It almost sounds like the Shabbos. That's the Shabbos fish. But it's actually mentioned in Torah a number of times by different names. Locusts. What rained down upon the Egyptians, the locusts, and they ate up all the crops. Many of them are kosher. As a matter of fact, I tried some a couple of years ago. Very salty. And elk are kosher, and the Canada geese are kosher. Moving on to the chicken. Of course we know chickens are kosher, right? But why, for heaven's sake, is chicken parmesan not kosher? Let's find the answer to that. It comes in the book of Exodus. B'chalev imo. Do not do what? Do not boil or seethe a kid in its mother's milk. Lo tevashel. Vashal, to boil, to cook, to bake, to roast. Rabbi Yitzhak Greenberg, towering giant of our century. I've had the opportunity to study with him on occasion. He says that the symbolism is clear. Meat is the flesh of a killed animal. Milk is the nurture of life, especially mother's milk. Life is life and death is death. And as we say, never the twain shall meet. Yitz, in this commentary, gives credit to Rabbi Jacob Milgram of blessed memory, who teaches that the tradition is objecting to the fusion and confusion of life and death simultaneously. The covenant asks its members to see life and death forces in binary opposition to each other, and one must not blur the lines between them. Once the choice is stark and clear, the covenant participant is instructed to choose life, a sense of kashrut, a sense of keeping kosher. There's many ways of doing that. Our beloved Reb Zalman coined the term eco-kashrut in the 1970s to broaden Jewish dietary laws, extending traditional food prohibitions to include ecological, ethical, and health impacts. It addresses modern issues like industrial agriculture and sustainability and worker welfare and environmental destruction, advocating for holistic, holy altar approach to consumption. You are what you eat, and it's not a matter only of the way that animal is killed, but all of these other things as well, maintains Reb Zalman. So let's do a little review here of all the different approaches to keeping kosher. I ask you, where do you fit in this? A strict Orthodox approach requires certified kosher food, separate dishes, utensils from meat and dairy, and waiting 3 to 6 hours between eating them. So requiring certified kosher food means that everything in the house must have a hechsher on it. It must have a sign that it was overseen by a mashgiach. We do not go by that in our house. We go by ingredients. A moderate conservative approach focuses on the core prohibitions. Okay, no pork, shellfish, no meat, dairy mixture, and may not maintain separate sets of dishes. Having glass dishes is a kind of workaround that many people do. Then we have a kosher style. Rabbi Larry Kushner refers to this as kashrut amerikansky, a cultural approach, avoiding obviously non-kosher food like pork, but often without full certification or strict kitchen separation. We try to have as strict a kitchen separation as possible. If we eat meat and clean the dishes, we will then kosher the sink with boiling water. And we have separate dishes and separate utensils for meat than we do for milk and dairy products. You might have a combination of all three of these things in the same way that Renee and I do. Now, there's also what we're going to refer to as ethical conscious eating, focuses on the ethical treatment of animals, fair labor practices, environmental concerns. This is looking back at Reb Zalman's coining of eco-kashrut, sometimes prioritizing this over traditional rabbinic certifications. Two more. Plant-based vegan. If you're a vegan, you're automatically keeping a kosher household. Substantially simplifies keeping kosher, as plant-based kitchens naturally avoid the complex meat-dairy separation rules. Okay, finally, there's one more category, of course, which we just went through, which is Pesach, and Pesach has its own rules, avoiding, of course, leavened bread products, which we refer to as chametz. Alrighty, my sweet friends, which category do you fall into? You fall into one or more. I suspect that is true of all of us. It's probably true for you. So our prayer for this Shabbos Shmini, whatever our eating practice may be, may we be grateful for each bite of food we take, grateful for the farmer who grew the food, for the hands that picked it, and for the earth and sun and rain that made it grow. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.